The city of Greyford never truly slept. Even at 3 in the morning, when the streets were nearly empty and the traffic lights blinked yellow out of habit, the city breathed, quietly, cautiously, like a patient afraid of waking from a dangerous dream. Crimes happened here every day, loud ones that screamed through headlines, gunshots in alleyways, robberies caught on CCTV, murders announced by flashing sirens. But the most dangerous crimes were the ones no one heard. This was a story about one of those. Inspector Daniel Cross had built his reputation on listening. While other detectives relied on brute force interrogations or flashy forensic tricks, Daniel listened. To pauses, to changes in breathing, to the moments suspects avoided eye contact. That morning, however, the silence unsettled him. The call came at 6:12 a.m. No panic, no urgency. Just a calm voice from dispatch. Inspector Cross, we have a possible unattended death at 47 Holloway Street. No signs of forced entry. Family reports the victim simply didn't answer his phone for 3 days. 3 days. Daniel stood by his window, watching fog curl around street lamps like ghostly fingers. Unattended deaths were usually simple. Heart attacks, strokes, lonely ends. But something about the phrase possible death bothered him. Send forensics, Daniel said. I'm on my way. The house at 47 Holloway Street was clean, too clean. The victim, Arthur Bell, 58, lay peacefully on his bed, hands folded over his chest as if prepared for burial. No wounds, no blood, no struggle. The medical examiner, Dr. Lena Morris, removed her gloves slowly. Cause of death appears to be cardiac arrest, she said. No defensive injuries, no toxins detected so far. Daniel studied the room. The bed was made neatly around the body. A glass of water sat untouched on the nightstand, and the clock had stopped at 2:17 a.m. You're uneasy, Lena noted. Arthur Bell lived alone. Daniel said, no history of heart disease. Neighbors say he was healthy, walked every morning. People die quietly all the time, she replied. Daniel nodded, but didn't believe it. Silence had a pattern, and this one felt rehearsed. Across the street lived Mrs. Evelyn Hart, a retired schoolteacher with sharp eyes and sharper memory. I didn't hear a thing, she told Daniel. No arguing, no shouting. Nothing unusual. What is usual? Daniel asked. She hesitated. Arthur always played the radio at night. Very softly. Jazz mostly. It helped him sleep. And the night he died, no music. Silence again. Daniel thanked her and stepped outside. Something had turned the radio off. Something, or someone, who wanted quiet. Arthur Bell was an accountant. Boring by most standards. No criminal record. No enemies. No drama. But Daniel had learned that boring was often a disguise. Digging through Arthur's financial records revealed inconsistencies. Tiny transfers, barely noticeable, made monthly to offshore accounts. Not enough to raise alarms, enough to raise suspicion. Arthur Bell hadn't been laundering money. He'd been tracking it. 2 nights later, Daniel received an anonymous voicemail. No caller ID, no background noise. Just a whisper. Arthur Bell didn't die naturally. He was silenced. The call ended. Daniel played it back 3 times. The voice was calm, controlled, almost emotionless. Whoever it was didn't want attention. They wanted truth. Forensics came back clean. No poison, no injections, no signs of struggle. The autopsy confirmed cardiac arrest. The department wanted to close the case. Daniel refused. There's no such thing as a perfect crime, he told Captain Rogers. Only crimes we don't understand yet. Rogers sighed. You're chasing silence, Cross. Daniel replied quietly. Silence screams if you listen long enough. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place. Arthur's hearing aid. Though Arthur rarely wore it, it was found in the nightstand drawer. A technician noticed something odd. A modified frequency chip. The device didn't amplify sound. It emitted it. Ultra-low frequency waves. Inaudible to humans. capable of disrupting heart rhythms when used long enough, a weapon without noise, a murder without marks, a silent crime. Only 3 companies in the country had access to such technology. One name stood out: Auralex Systems, a private defense contractor. Arthur Bell's offshore accounts linked directly to shell companies connected to Auralex. Arthur hadn't been laundering money. He'd been preparing to expose them. Daniel tracked down Maya Rourke, a former Auralex engineer turned whistleblower, vanished 2 years earlier. She hadn't vanished. She'd been hiding. They kill quietly, Maya told Daniel, in an abandoned warehouse. No guns, no poison, just silence. They call it non-attributable enforcement. Arthur Bell, Daniel asked. He was my contact, she said. They knew he'd talk. Who pulled the trigger? Daniel asked. Maya smiled sadly. There is no trigger. Daniel needed proof. Something louder than silence. He leaked false information suggesting another whistleblower existed. Within days, Auralex moved. Security footage captured an unmarked van outside Daniel's apartment. Inside, he found a modified speaker hidden behind his walls. They were coming for him, quietly. Daniel worked fast. He wired the device to overload, forcing the frequency into the audible range. When Auralex agents activated it remotely, the city heard it. A deep, unnatural hum echoed through the block. Windows shattered. Alarms screamed. The silence broke. Federal agencies swarmed Auralex headquarters. Documents, devices, contracts, everything spilled into daylight. Executives were arrested. Engineers confessed. The technology was real. The murders were many. Arthur Bell wasn't the first. He was just the one who almost stayed silent forever. Months later, Daniel stood at Arthur Bell's grave. No music, no radio, just whine through the trees. Maya disappeared again, this time under witness protection. Captain Rogers joined Daniel. You were right, he said, about silence. Daniel nodded. It's never empty. It's just waiting. Grayford returned to its routine. Headlines faded. People forgot. But Daniel didn't. Every night he listened. To the hum of the city, to the gaps between sounds. Because the most terrifying crimes aren't the ones that shout. They're the ones that happen so quietly you don't realize you're a victim until it's too late.